Welcome to your reset with Christiane Piano, where the purpose is to support you in releasing all that you are not, so the truth of who you really are can emerge. This is accomplished through working with the body-mind from an ontological perspective. We use various modalities to support you in supporting yourself exactly where you are, so that you may return to an experience of wholeness and ease, moment by moment. Deep reflection is one of the greatest tools through which to do this. To take a moment, to pause, assess, reflect, and literally and figuratively reset, come back to center, and move back into your one and precious life with increased clarity and purpose. Hello, this is Christiane Piano, and this week's episode is a reflection on fall. On Sunday, September 22nd, we say farewell to the energy of summer and enter into the season of fall, or as some refer to it as autumn. There are two moments in the year when the sun is exactly above the equator, and day and night are of equal length. The fall equinox is one of these moments. There is a moment of perfect balance, and then the scales tip once again. As we watch the leaves change colors and eventually fall to the ground, the days get cooler and the sunlight decreases. There is an opportunity for each of us to reflect on how this natural process we see in nature is occurring within our internal milieu. You may already have been aware of this impact in the days leading up to this transition. Perhaps you are noticing you are waking up feeling less rested, or maybe you are craving different foods. You may be sensing a change in your overall mood and/or perspective. However you are experiencing this shift, it is an opportunity to turn inward and listen to your body-mind. How can you provide yourself with what is needed to stay balanced, centered, and grounded, to afford you the increased ability to flow with ease in your reality at the present moment, and very artfully and mindfully create choices that create the groundwork and the foundation for whatever it is you are building in your life as you move closer to your vision. When it comes to body-mind well-being, balance is an essential foundation to which to return, if not daily, weekly, as the need to reset and come back to center is an essential for health, well-being, and vitality. I will come back to the topic of balance later on in this episode. The change of this season can have a profound impact on your well-being, which is often felt psychologically, physically, and within all the layers of your being. As the days become shorter and the nights longer, your biological circadian rhythm, that is, your internal clock, is affected by this change. This can lead to changes in your sleep patterns and mood. If you have not yet listened to the reflection on cadence, I suggest you pause and listen to that before proceeding. As this is a time of year where the time we spend in darkness gradually increases, it is both an opportunity to become more rooted and to reflect on balance in general in your life, which is also an opportunity to simultaneously reflect upon perhaps where things feel out of balance. You have an opportunity to examine your relationship specifically between the play between light and dark, quiet and noise, movement and stillness. We know in theory that light, for example, cannot exist without darkness, as they are the two sides of the same coin. And as stated in previous episodes, more often than not, we don't necessarily live what we understand. What is your relationship to darkness, quiet, stillness? What are your associations, your memories? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Are you willing to see the opportunity in them? The word equinox comes from Latin and means equal night. Balance and interaction of light and dark. The fall equinox is a moment that presents an opportunity to sit in reflection and be in a state of gratitude, to give thanks for our blessings and personal achievements, and to take stock of our own metaphorical harvest. We can create moments to honor the collection of our harvest from the things we have planted in our gardens, quite literally as well as figuratively. That is, the harvest from your efforts and intentions for your life path set earlier on in the year or at another moment in your life. The opportunity for reflection naturally deepens, as well as the quality of reflection. Reflection is not necessarily a common practice in our fast-paced modern world, and yet, when you create the space within your daily or weekly life to reflect, it is amazing to discover just how supportive this practice is in providing you the opportunity to step closer and closer living into your vision. It is quite self-empowering. You will notice over time that your reactiveness will decrease and your purposeful, intentional choices will increase, leading you to the capacity to hone and channel your energy towards what you truly want for yourself in your life. The fall season is a time where you can acknowledge your own growth and expansion, which is absolutely an organic and natural process. Our lives go through cycles of growth, harvest, death, and rebirth, just as we see reflected back to us in nature. So, this moment could be considered, if you will, an invitation to honor all that you have in this present moment of reality in your life, and shift your awareness from one of lack to one of prosperity and gratitude, remembering that the human mind will always naturally navigate to the nots, what is missing or not quite right. You can create small, tiny moments to do this. You could create a practice on the daily. whichever is the moment that works best for you to do this, perhaps upon waking, in the late afternoon, prior to going to bed, or maybe even as a practice with your loved ones around mealtime, to give thanks and recognize the blessings that are present, to recognize each other's efforts, each other's growth, and express appreciation and recognition of its contribution to the whole. This coming season is a moment of the year where you can set up your internal spaces, both those in which you live as well as within your own body, and make room for what is to come in the next seasons and years of your life. Create room for your greater visions to grow by allowing the empty space and silence to take hold of your internal spaces. Quietude and emptiness are so often filled with busyness and noise. Therefore, it will take a concerted, conscious effort and commitment to creating this terrain, both within and without of yourself, to rest in quietude and emptiness. Why would you do this? Simply because the time you create to reset your inner terrain supports your health, vitality, and overall well-being. And this supports you in thriving in all the seasons of the year and the seasons of your life. When we clear our internal ground, we are preparing for the winter months of dormancy and rest, cold and darkness. Prepping for this period goes a long way in supporting yourself proactively during that time of the year. Some questions to ponder may be, what am I willing to let go of to create more space for what really matters to me in my life? What practices supported me in the summer months or other stages of my life that need tweaking or perhaps changes or releases? Am I willing to open myself up to the opportunities in the fall season to release and let go of what has been? To be aware of any clinging to old experiences or versions of myself, others, and life? Choosing growth from a place of willingness is an essential to the overall process. So this now brings me to speak to balance, as mentioned earlier in the episode. Balance. It's an essential to activating any new cycle of growth, as well as recognizing what is available to be harvested now due to your growth. If we think of balance within the body, the word homeostasis surfaces. What is it exactly? It is an internal balance among all of your bodily systems, which is needed for the body to survive and function correctly. Your body has a set point for a variety of states, including temperature, weight, sleep, thirst, and hunger. When the level is off in either direction, too much or too little, homeostasis will work to correct it. For example, if you get too hot, you sweat. If you get too cold, you shiver. Supporting your body-mind on the regular to return to a balanced state is an essential to thriving on all levels. When you do the work to increase your capacity in stress management, dietary changes, and exercises, all of these components support a state of homeostasis. Learning to internally regulate your lived experiences support you in returning to balance. Stress management normalizes the levels of stress hormones like cortisol and vasopressin and increases levels of endorphins, oxytocin, dopamine, and so on. It is helpful to become aware of what imbalances look and feel like as a lived experience within yourself. It is supportive to become aware of patterns that repeat themselves. And this is where creating time for observation and reflection comes in, as when we gradually become aware of repeated experience, this affords us the opportunity to not only take an honest look at what is unfolding in our experience, but to then take the next step and begin to get to the root of the pattern. This is where the ontological aspect of growth comes into play. You see, we are either covering up symptoms with various band-aids for multiple reasons, or we are willing to take the steps to get to the root of the symptoms. So it could be helpful to reflect on some examples of imbalance. Consistently operating from extremes and never returning to center. Reaching for temporary satisfaction rather than long-term contentment. Consistent fatigue. Confusion. Irritability. Aggression. Anxiety. Listlessness. Delirium. Increased heartbeat. Low blood pressure. Fast breathing. Decreased urine output. Constipation. Falling. The symptoms just listed can be a consequence of homeostasis imbalance. The following are some examples of disease, which comes from the lack of ease, that can come from prolonged states of living out of balance. Thermoregulation, diabetes, cancer, dementia, heart disease, and depression. You may be wondering, what is it that causes disruptions to balance? Some of the most common factors are environmental, lifestyle, external toxins, and genetic imbalances. Homeostasis impacts each of us on so many levels that we often do not think of as we do not see them. Molecular, cellular, organ, and system levels. In my upcoming 5-week online series, Intertwine, you will have an opportunity, if you decide to participate, to take a deep dive into how your nervous system and immune system impact one another and explore this very concept on an experiential level. To take the time to balance the scales, to reset, supports your overall body-mind well-being. When things are balanced within, we navigate the outside world, the circumstances of our lives, with more ease. We experience increased resilience. When the system within is brought back to balance on the regular, when you have something that unfolds that is unexpected, that triggers you, that calls for increased energy levels, when you are on the other side of it, if your system is accustomed to being invited into balance, you will experience falling back into ease with more facility. As you sit and reflect and listen and re-listen to this episode, may you find it supportive in taking yourself to the next level of deeper reflection, not just on your overall life vision, the bigger decisions in front of you, but may you shine light as you sit in quietude with increasing amounts of time to examine the small, tiny, itsy-bitsy decisions you make in your daily life that may either be supporting or hindering you in your overall growth and well-being. As always, it is important to take baby steps, allow for mini shifts, and if and when you are ready, Perhaps do the work to get to the root causes that are keeping you stuck in a pattern that is no longer serving you. May you give yourself permission to listen to your body, aware of the filters of the mind, and meet yourself where you are today, and provide space for yourself to take wonderful care of yourself. Imagine a world where more humans operated from a grounded, centered, and easeful place. A world in which each person owns their experience of themselves and the world. A world in which people were living into their greatest expression of the space of life that they are. It starts with each of us. Ease is contagious. May we spread more of it as we live and we become living examples of it ourselves. I invite you to join me for the brand new 5-week online series, Intertwine. It begins Sunday, September 29th at 5 Central European Standard Time. Knowledge is power, and as you uncover how the nervous system and immune system are interconnected, you will be preparing your body-mind for the season of the year where the days get shorter and we are exposed to less sunlight. Stress levels tend to increase, and our nervous system and immune system take quite a beating. In this series, you will learn how to support your body-mind in new ways to enable you to ride this wave of the coming months with greater ease, vitality, and health. For more information, please go to my website, www.christianpiano.com. And if you have questions, feel free to send me an email at growth@christianpiano.com or schedule a free 15-minute consult, and I can answer any questions one-to-one.